Okay, Bismillah. You're live.
نعم شيخ فهد تفضلوا الله يبارك فيكم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وحاجه قومه قال أتحاجوني في الله وقد هدان ولا أخاف ما تشركون به إلا أن يشاء ربي شيئا وسع ربي كل شيء علما أفلا تتذكرون.
I seek refuge with Allah from Satan, the accursed. His people disputed with him. He said, "Do you dispute with me concerning Allah while He has guided me, and I fear not those whom you associate with Him in worship? Nothing can happen to me, except when my Lord wills something. My Lord comprehends in His knowledge all things. Will you not then remember?"
وكيف أخاف ما أشركتم ولا تخافون أنكم أشركتم بالله ما لم ينزل به عليكم سلطانا فأي الفريقين أحق بالأمن إن كنتم تعلمون.
And how should I fear those whom you associate in worship with Allah, though they can neither benefit nor harm, while you fear not that which you have joined in worship with Allah, things for which He has not sent down to you any authority. So which of the two parties has more right to be in security, if you but know?
الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون.
It is those who believe in the oneness of Allah and worship none but He alone, and confuse not their belief with wrongdoing. For them only there is security, and they are the guided.
وتلك حجتنا آتيناها إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من نشاء إن ربك حكيم عليم.
And that was our proof, which we gave Abraham against his people. We raise whom we will in degrees. Certainly your Lord is all-wise, all-knowing.
ووهبنا له إسحاق ويعقوب كلا هدينا ونوحا هدينا من قبل ومن ذريته داود وسليمان وأيوب ويوسف وموسى وهارون وكذلك نجزي المحسنين.
And we bestowed upon him Isaac and Jacob. Each of them we guided, and before him we guided Noah, and among his progeny David, Solomon, Job, Joseph, Moses, and Aaron. Thus do we reward the good doers.
وزكريا ويحيى وعيسى وإلياس كل من الصالحين.
And Zachariah, and John, and Jesus, and Elias, each one of them was from the righteous.
وإسماعيل واليسع ويونس ولوطا وكلا فضلنا على العالمين.
And Ishmael, and Elijah, and Jonah, and Lot. And each one of them we preferred to all creation of their times.
ومن آبائهم وذرياتهم وإخوانهم واجتبيناهم وهديناهم إلى صراط مستقيم.
And also some of their fathers and their progeny and their brethren, we chose them and we guided them to a straight path.
ذلك هدى الله يهدي به من يشاء من عباده ولو أشركوا لحبط عنهم ما كانوا يعملون.
This is the guidance of Allah with which He guides whomsoever He wills of His slaves. But if they had joined in worship others with Allah, all that they had used to do would have been of no benefit to them.
أولئك الذين آتيناهم الكتاب والحكم والنبوة فإن يكفر بها هؤلاء فقد وكلنا بها قوما ليسوا بها بكافرين.
They are those whom we gave the book, the wisdom, and prophethood. But if these disbelievers disbelieve therein, then indeed we have entrusted it to a people such as the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who are not disbelievers therein.
أولئك الذين هدى الله فبهداه مقتده قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إن هو إلا ذكرى للعالمين.
They are those whom Allah has guided, so follow their guidance. Say, no reward I ask of you for this Qur'an. It is only a reminder for all creation.
وما قدروا الله حق قدره إذ قالوا ما أنزل الله على بشر من شيء قل من أنزل الكتاب الذي جاء به موسى نورا وهدى للناس تجعلونه قراطيس تبدونها وتخفون كثيرا وعلمتم ما لم تعلموا أنتم ولا آباؤكم قل الله ثم ذرهم في خوضهم يلعبون.
They, the Jews, Quraysh pagans and idolaters, did not estimate Allah with an estimation due to him when they said, nothing did Allah send down to any human being by revelation. Say, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who then sent down the book which Moses brought, a light and a guidance to mankind, which you have made into separate paper sheets, disclosing some of them and concealing much. Are you believers in Allah and His Messenger Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him? And you were taught through the Qur'an that which neither you nor your fathers knew? Say Allah sent it down, then leave them to play in their vain discussions.
وهذا كتاب أنزلناه مبارك مصدق الذي بين يديه ولتنذر القرى ومن حولها والذين يؤمنون بالآخرة يؤمنون به وهم على صلاتهم يحافظون.
And this, the Qur'an, is a blessed book which we have sent down, confirming the revelations which came before it, so that you may warn the mother of the towns, Mecca, and all those around it. Those who believe in the hereafter believe in it, and they are constant in guarding their prayers.
ومن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا أو قال أوحي إلي ولم يوحى إليه بشيء ومن قال سأنزل مثل ما أنزل الله ولو ترى إذ الظالمون في غمرات الموت والملائكة باسطوا أيديهم أخرجوا أنفسكم اليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تقولون على الله غير الحق وكنتم عن آياته تستكبرون.
And who can be more unjust than those who invent a lie against Allah, or say, a revelation has come to me, whereas no revelation has come to them in anything, and who say, I will reveal the like of what Allah has revealed. And if you could but see what the wrongdoers are in the agonies of death, while the angels are stretching forth their hands, saying, deliver your souls. This day you shall be recompensed with the torment of degradation because of that which you used to utter against Allah other than the truth, and you used to reject his signs and evidences with disrespect.
ولقد جئتمونا فرادا كما خلقناكم أول مرة وتركتم ما خولناكم وراء ظهوركم وما نرى معكم شفعاءكم الذين زعمتم أنهم فيكم شركاء لقد تقطع بينكم وضل عنكم ما كنتم تزعمون.
And truly you have come to us alone, without wealth, companions, or anything else, as we created you the first time. You have left behind all that which we had bestowed upon you. We see not with your intercessors, whom you claim to be partners with Allah. Now all relations between you and them have been cut off, and all that you used to claim has vanished from you.
إن الله فالق الحب والنوى يخرج الحي من الميت ومخرج الميت من الحي ذلكم الله فأنى تؤفكون.
Verily, it is Allah who causes the seed grain and the fruit stone to split and sprout. He brings forth the living from the dead, and it is He who brings forth the dead from the living. Such is Allah, then how are you deluded away from the truth?
فالق الإصباح وجعل الليل سكنا والشمس والقمر حسبانا ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم.
He is the cleaver of the daybreak. He has appointed the night for resting, and the sun and the moon for reckoning. Such is the measuring of the Almighty, the All-Knowing.
وهو الذي جعل لكم النجوم لتهتدوا بها في ظلمات البر والبحر قد فصلنا الآيات لقوم يعلمون.
It is He who has set the stars for you, so that you may guide your course with their help through the darkness of the land and the sea. We have indeed explained in detail our proofs and evidences for a people who know.
وهو الذي أنشأكم من نفس واحدة فمستقر ومستودع قد فصلنا الآيات لقوم يفقهون.
It is He who has created you from a single person and has given you a place of residing and a place of storage. Indeed, we have explained in detail our revelations for a people who understand.
وهو الذي أنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به نبات كل شيء فأخرجنا منه خضرا نخرج منه حبا متراكبا ومن النخل من طلعها قنوان دانية وجنات من أعناب والزيتون والرمان مشتبها وغير متشابه انظروا إلى ثمره إذا أثمر وينعه إن في ذلكم لآيات لقوم يؤمنون.
It is He who sends down water from the sky, and with it we bring forth vegetation of all kinds, and out of it we bring forth green stalks, from which we bring forth thick clustered grain, and out of date palm and its base come forth clusters of dates hanging low and near, and gardens of grapes, olives, and pomegranates, each similar in kind, yet different in variety and taste. Look at their fruits when they begin to bear, and the ripeness thereof. Verily, in these things there are signs for a people who believe.
وجعلوا لله شركاء الجن وخلقهم وخرقوا له بنين وبنات بغير علم سبحانه وتعالى عما يصفون.
Yet they join the jinn as partners in worship with Allah, though He has created them, and they attribute falsely without knowledge sons and daughters to Him. Glorified is He and exalted above all the evil they attribute to Him.
بديع السماوات والأرض أنى يكون له ولد ولم تكن له صاحبة وخلق كل شيء وهو بكل شيء عليم.
He is the originator of the heavens and the earth. How can He have children when He has no wife? He created all things, and He is the all-knower of everything.
ذلكم الله ربكم لا إله إلا هو خالق كل شيء فاعبدوه وهو على كل شيء وكيل.
Such is Allah, your Lord. None has the right to be worshipped but He, the creator of all things. So worship Him alone, and He is the trustee and the guardian over all things.
لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار وهو اللطيف الخبير.
No vision can grasp Him, but He grasps all vision. He is the most subtle and courteous, the well-acquainted with all things.
قد جاءكم بصائر من ربكم فمن أبصر فلنفسه ومن عمي فعليها وما أنا عليكم بحفيظ.
Verily, proofs have come to you from your Lord, so whosoever sees will do so for the good of his own self, and whosoever blinds themselves will do so to their own harm. And I, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, am not a watcher over you.
وكذلك نصرف الآيات وليقولوا درست ولنبينه لقوم يعلمون.
Thus we explain variously the verses so that they, the disbelievers, may say, you have studied the books of the people of the scripture, and that we may make the matter clear for a people who have knowledge.
اتبع ما أوحي إليك من ربك لا إله إلا هو وأعرض عن المشركين.
Follow what has been revealed to you, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, from your Lord. None has the right to be worshipped but He, and turn aside from the polytheists.
ولو شاء الله ما أشركوا وما جعلناك عليهم حفيظا وما أنت عليهم بوكيل.
Had Allah willed, they would not have taken others besides Him in worship, and we have not made you a watcher over them, nor are you a disposer or a trustee over them.
ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دون الله فيسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم كذلك زينا لكل أمة عملهم ثم إلى ربهم مرجعهم فينبئهم بما كانوا يعملون.
And insult not those whom they, the disbelievers, worship besides Allah, lest they insult Allah wrongfully without knowledge. Thus we have made fair seeming to each people its own doings. Then to their Lord is their return, and He shall then inform them of all that they used to do.
وأقسموا بالله جهد أيمانهم لئن جاءتهم آية ليؤمنن بها قل إنما الآيات عند الله وما يشعركم أنها إذا جاءت لا يؤمنون.
And they swear their strongest oaths by Allah that if there came to them a sign, they would surely believe therein. Say, signs are but with Allah, and what will make you Muslims perceive that even if the sign came, they would not disbelieve, they would not believe.
ونقلب أفئدتهم وأبصارهم كما لم يؤمنوا به أول مرة ونذرهم في طغيانهم يعمهون.
And we shall turn their hearts and their eyes away from guidance, as they refuse to believe therein for the first time, and we shall leave them in their trespass to wander blindly.
ولو أننا نزلنا إليهم الملائكة وكلمهم الموتى وحشرنا عليهم كل شيء قبلا ما كانوا ليؤمنوا إلا أن يشاء الله ولكن أكثرهم يجهلون.
And even if we had sent down to them angels, and the dead had spoken to them, and we had gathered together all things before their very eyes, they would not have believed unless Allah willed, but most of them behave ignorantly.
وكذلك جعلنا لكل نبي عدوا شياطين الإنس والجن يوحي بعضهم إلى بعض زخرف القول غرورا ولو شاء ربك ما فعلوه فذرهم وما يفترون.
And so we have appointed for every prophet enemies, devils among mankind and jinn, inspiring one another with adorned speech as a delusion. If your Lord had so willed, they would not have done it. So leave them alone with their fabrications.
ولتصغى إليه أفئدة الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة وليرضوه وليقترفوا ما هم مقترفون.
And this is in order that the hearts of those who disbelieve in the hereafter may incline to such deceit, and that they may remain pleased with it, and that they may commit what they are committing, all types of sin and evil deeds.
أفغير الله أبتغي حكما وهو الذي أنزل إليكم الكتاب مفصلا والذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعلمون أنه منزل من ربك بالحق فلا تكونن من الممترين.
Say, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, shall I seek a judge other than Allah, while it is He who has sent down to you the book, the Qur'an, explained in detail? Those to whom we gave the scripture know that it is revealed from your Lord in truth, so be not you of those who doubt.
وتمت كلمة ربك صدقا وعدلا لا مبدل مبدل لكلماته وهو السميع العليم.
And the word of your Lord has been fulfilled in truth and in justice. None can change his words, and he is the all-hearer, the all-knower.
وإن تطع أكثر من في الأرض يضلوك عن سبيل الله إن يتبعون إلا الظن وإن هم إلا يخرصون.
And if you obey most of those on earth, they will mislead you far away from Allah's path. They follow nothing but conjectures, and they do nothing but lie.
إن ربك هو أعلم من يضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين.
Verily, your Lord, it is He who knows best who strays from His way, and He who knows best the rightly guided.
فكلوا مما ذكر اسم الله عليه إن كنتم بآياته مؤمنين.
So eat of that meat on which Allah's name has been pronounced, if you are believers in His signs, proofs, and evidences.
وما لكم ألا تأكلوا مما ذكر اسم الله عليه وقد فصل لكم ما حرم عليكم إلا ما اضطررتم إليه وإن كثيرا ليضلون بأهوائهم بغير علم إن ربك هو أعلم بالمعتدين.
And why should you not eat of that meat on which Allah's name has been pronounced, while He has explained to you in detail what is forbidden to you, except under compulsion of necessity? And surely many do lead mankind astray by their own desires, through lack of knowledge. Certainly your Lord knows best the transgressors.
وذروا ظاهر الإثم وباطنه إن الذين يكسبون الإثم سيجزون بما كانوا يقترفون.
Leave, O mankind, all kinds of sin, open and secret. Verily those who commit sin will get due recompense for that which they used to commit.
ولا تأكلوا مما لم يذكر اسم الله عليه وإنه لفسق وإن الشياطين ليوحون إلى أوليائهم ليجادلوكم وإن أطعتموهم إنكم لمشركون.
Eat not, O believers, of that meat on which Allah's name has not been pronounced, for surely it is a sin, and certainly the devils do inspire their friends from mankind to dispute with you, and if you obey them, then you would indeed be polytheists.
أومن كان ميتا فأحييناه وجعلنا له نورا يمشي به في الناس كمن مثله في الظلمات ليس بخارج منها كذلك زين للكافرين ما كانوا يعملون.
It is he who was dead without faith by ignorance and disbelief, and we gave him life by knowledge and faith, and set for him a light of belief, whereby he can walk amongst men, like him who is in darkness, from which he can never come out. Thus it is made fair seeming to the disbelievers that which they used to do.
وكذلك جعلنا في كل قرية أكابر مجرميها ليمكروا فيها وما يمكرون إلا بأنفسهم وما يشعرون.
The Sheikh is there. Just need to notify Aqil to let him start.
حسنا بارك الله فيكم شيخنا. سأترجم الآية الأخيرة.
تفضل عفوا أنا كنت أتكلم عبد الحكيم. تفضل.
لا أبدا شيخنا حفظكم الله. And thus we have set up in every town great ones of its wicked people to plot therein, but they plot not except against their own selves, and they perceive it not. So here, all praises are due to Allah. We give thanks to Allah first, and then we give thanks to our brother and our Ustad and our Sheikh Fahad for his excellent recitation. May Allah reward him immensely and increase him in knowledge and allow him to benefit us more and more. And we're very, very happy to have on the line at the moment our Sheikh, the Dr. Abdul Aziz Al-Rais, who is a renowned scholar, an academic in the Islamic world, specializing in Usul al-Din, the fundamentals of the religion. And he is a teacher at the Imam Muhammad ibn Saud University. In addition to this, he's a member of the Al-Aziziyya Dawah Center in Riyadh. He's an Imam and Khatib, an Imam and a preacher on Fridays. And he's the director of the Islam Ancient website. He's the author of many beneficial works, and he has given many beneficial lectures, and we are going to benefit from him tonight. We're very fortunate to have him and to be able to benefit from his knowledge. حياكم الله شيخنا.
الله يحييك يا شيخ، لك والديك.
آمين شيخنا، آمين شيخنا، حفظكم الله.
كيف حالكم؟ طيبون إن شاء الله.
الحمد لله شيخنا بصحة وعافية، ونحمد الله عز وجل في أننا نحن في رمضان وحولنا أهل الفضل والعلم ونستفيد منكم.
الحمد لله، أسأل الله ينفعنا وإياكم يا رب العالمين.
آمين آمين. وشيخنا أكرمكم الله، ما موضوع المحاضرة؟
الصوم والإيمان، ولا يا شيخ محمد الصيام والإيمان؟
نعم هو كذلك. نعم.
حسنا. And our Sheikh Abdul Aziz Al-Rais, he's going to be giving us a lecture tonight on fasting and faith. So we ask Allah that he opens up for our Sheikh, and we ask Allah that he gives us the success to be able to benefit from his words. فليتفضلوا شيخنا مشكورا. الله يبارك فيكم.
الشيخ عبد العزيز الكاميرا عندك مغلقة، بس لو تضغط عليها الله يحفظك.
اي بس أنا اليوم اسمحوا لي الكاميرا، الجايات ان شاء الله يا شيخ محمد.
طيب يا
ان شاء الله.
جزاك الله.
لو تحط صورك تكفي يا شيخ محمد.
لا يحسبون رمضان ما بدأ بعدين.
متعودين عليك بغير رمضان. اللهم بارك.
حفظك الله وبارك فيك. السلام عليكم.
الله يحفظك. سلامتك. نبدأ يا شيخ؟
أي نعم شيخنا، تفضلوا مشكورا حفظكم الله.
طيب جزاك الله خير. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فيسرني أن أتوجه إلى إخواني الأفاضل بكلمة بعنوان الصيام والإيمان، التي أسأل الله بأسماء الحسنى وصفات العلى أن يعينني عليها، وأن يمن علي وعليكم بالقبول والرضا، إنه أرحم الراحمين. نعم.
So firstly, to just say that our Sheikh, he excused himself tonight from switching his camera on, and he said that by the will of Allah, the next time that he delivers a lecture, he will have the camera on by the will of Allah. And then he started, indeed, all praises are due to Allah. We praise him, we seek his aid, and we seek his forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evils of ourselves and the wickedness of our actions. Whomsoever Allah guides, there are none to misguide. And whosoever Allah misguides, there are none to guide. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship in truth except for Allah alone, and that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is his slave and messenger. To proceed, it gives me great pleasure to be delivering this lecture tonight for you that is on the topic of fasting and faith. And I ask Allah the Most High to enable us to benefit and also to facilitate and bestow upon us its acceptance. نعم شيخنا.
الإيمان عند أهل السنة قول وعمل واعتقاد. ومعنى هذا أن من قال قولا تعبديا فإنه قد تعبد لله، وقال قولا إيمانيا فزاد إيمانه، فمن ذكر الله زاد إيمانه، ومن قرأ القرآن زاد إيمانه. وكذلك العمل من الإيمان، فمن صلى زاد إيمانه، ومن صام زاد إيمانه، ومن بر والديه زاد إيمانه. لذا قال تعالى: وما كان الله ليضيع إيمانكم. المراد الصلاة بالإجماع، حكى النووي شرح مسلم. وكذلك الاعتقاد يزيد الإيمان، الذي يستشعر خشية الله والسعي لتحقيق مراضيه ومراقبة الله يزيد إيمانه، لأن الإيمان عند أهل السنة قول وعمل واعتقاد. فعلى هذا الصوم من الإيمان، لذا يزيد به الإيمان، فمن صام زاد إيمانه، ومن ترك الصوم الواجب نقص إيمانه. نعم.
Barakallahu fikum, Shaykhana. So when we talk about faith with in the sight of the people of the Sunnah, those who follow the example of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, it consists of a number of things. It consists of three things. Firstly, its statement. Secondly, its action. And thirdly, its belief. So when we say that this is what faith consists of, then when an individual says something that is an act of worship, and they say it as an act seeking Allah's pleasure, then they have said a statement that is a faith-based statement. So for example, when they make remembrance of Allah, this is a faith-based statement that causes their faith to be increased. When they recite the Qur'an, this is a faith-based statement that causes their faith to be increased. Likewise, faith consists of action. So whosoever does an action of worship, the result of this is that their faith increases. So whosoever prays, their faith increases. Whosoever fasts, their faith increases. Whosoever is dutiful to their parents, their faith increases. And likewise, the third category of belief, that when an individual's belief increases and deepens, their faith increases. So for example, when the individual believes and their belief in Allah's presence and Allah's the qualities of Allah, knowing and being aware of what they do, when this consciousness within the individual increases, their faith in turn increases. And this is indicated by the statement of Allah the Most High in the Qur'an, that which means, and Allah would not leave your faith. And this is the linguistic word that's referred to in the verse of the Qur'an, your faith. And what's referred to here, as mentioned by Imam al-Nawawi in his explanation of the authentic collection of narrations of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, collected by Imam Muslim. He said this is by the consensus of the scholars that this faith referred to in this verse is the prayer. So it shows that the prayer is a type of faith. So when we look at this introduction, we can build upon it and say that faith, that fasting, when an individual fasts, their faith increases. And likewise, when an individual doesn't fast or they're negligent as relates to their fasting, their faith decreases. نعم شيخنا تفضلوا مشكورا.
نعم. وقد دل القرآن والسنة على أن دخول الجنة التي عرضها السماوات والأرض هو بسبب الأعمال الصالحة، كما قال سبحانه: أن تلكم الجنة أورثتموها بما كنتم تعملون، وقال: جزاء بما كنتم تعملون. فالأعمال الصالحة سبب لدخول الجنة. ومن الأعمال الصالحة الإيمان. ثبت في الصحيحين عن أبي هريرة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سئل: أي الأعمال أفضل؟ قال: إيمان بالله. وتقدم أن الأعمال أن الصوم من الإيمان، فهو سبب عظيم لدخول الجنة. بل وأرجو أن ننتبه إلى هذا: إن صوم رمضان ليس كغيره، هو ركن من أركان الإسلام. ولو تأملت لماذا أركان الإسلام هي هذه الخمسة المذكورة في حديث ابن عمر في الصحيحين، لما قال: بني الإسلام على 5: شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله. هذا الركن الأول. لأن هذه الأركان الخمسة هي أفضل وأعظم عبادة من جنسها. بمعنى الركن الأول الشهادتان، وهم أصل للدين كله، لا يصح الدين إلا بهما، لذا صارت الشهادتان ركنا. إقام الصلاة أفضل العبادات العملية من جهة الفعل الصلاة. وإيتاء الزكاة أفضل العبادات المالية هي دفع الزكاة الواجبة. وصوم رمضان، وهذا هو الشاهد، هو أفضل العبادات العملية من جهة الترك. الصلاة أفضل العبادات العملية من جهة الفعل، أما الصوم أفضل العبادات العملية من جهة الترك، لأنه يترك طعامه ويترك شرابه ويترك شهوته. أما الحج فهو أفضل العبادات التي جمعت بين العمل البدني والإنفاق المالي. فإن الحج فيه جهد بدني وفيه بذل مال. فإذا هذه أركان الإسلام الخمسة. لماذا صارت أركان الإسلام هذه الخمسة ومنها صوم رمضان؟ لأنها أفضل شيء في بابها. هل فهمت يا شيخ كلامي؟
أي نعم شيخنا، بارك الله فيكم، كلام موفق ما شاء الله، حفظكم الله.
طيب إذا كان كذلك فإذا صوم رمضان أمر عظيم للغاية، فهو من أفضل عبادات الدين ومن أعظم أسباب زيادة الإيمان. نعم تفضل يا شيخ.
حفظكم الله شيخنا. So when we look to the Qur'an and the example of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, we see that within these texts they contain a great many indications that the people in the hereafter, they will enter the paradise by virtue of their actions. Allah the Most High says that, which means, indeed, that is the paradise that you will inherit due to that which you used to do. And in another verse, enter the paradise due to that which you used to do. So the actions that an individual does are integral to their entering the paradise. And in the two authentic collections, Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, on the authority of Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was asked, which actions are the best? And he responded, peace and blessings be upon him, having faith in Allah. So from here, we benefit and we learn that having faith is an action. It's considered to be one of these actions. So having faith is an action, and it's one of the key actions that enter the individual into the paradise. And fasting is also one of the actions that the righteous perform. And it's a virtuous action that allows the people to enter the paradise in and of itself. However, the fasting that takes place during Ramadan is not like just normal fasting. It becomes something greater than just an act of worship. Why is this? This is because the fasting during the month of Ramadan, it's one of the pillars of Islam. So it has a higher degree of importance. And when we look to the narration on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them both, where he mentioned, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, mentioned the 5 pillars of Islam, we should ask ourselves, why have these 5 pillars been mentioned? And why have these 5 pillars, these 5 acts of worship, why have they been singled out as the pillars of this great religion? And this is what we will look at now. In short and in summary, it's because each of these different pillars are the best types of worship of their kinds. What does that mean? We'll look at it in with each pillar in detail. So firstly, the Shahadatan, the 2 declarations of faith, the statement that there is no deity worthy of worship in truth except for Allah, and that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is the slave and messenger of Allah. This is the essence of the entire faith and the essence of the religion. There is no faith and there is no religion without attesting to these 2 things. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, mentioned the prayer, the prayer that we do. And this has been mentioned because it's without any restriction, it's the best action, the best act of worship that an individual can do in terms of an act. So the best physical act of worship that can be done is the prayer. Then we move on to the 3rd pillar, which is the zakah, the giving in charity. But this specific giving in charity, the obligatory zakat, the obligatory giving in charity. And this has been mentioned as a pillar because this is the best type of worship that one can do through their money. So the best type of money that you can give is the obligatory zakah. Then we move on to the 4th pillar. And this is where we want to pay attention. And this is the reason, or the point that the Sheikh would like to emphasize here. The fasting. Why has fasting been mentioned? It's been mentioned as one of the pillars because it's the best act of worship that an individual can do in terms of abstaining from something. So when we said with the 2nd pillar, the prayer, that with it being unrestrictedly the best action or active act of worship, that's the positive, so to speak, that someone does. The best positive act of worship that an individual can do is the prayer. and the best leaving or abstaining that an individual can do is the fasting, and the fasting in Ramadan. And that's because the individual leaves off their food, they leave off their drink, and they leave off their desires. And lastly, the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, to Allah's house, is the best act of worship that combines the physical act of worship and those acts of worship that are done with one's wealth. So it combines these two acts of worship, and it's the best act of worship that combines them. So this shows us, and it indicates that Ramadan and fasting during Ramadan, it's something of great importance because there is nothing like it. And because, or due to this importance, then its impact and its raising our faith is something that's very great indeed. نعم شيخنا.
ومن محبة الله لعبادة الصوم أن جعل للجنة بابا سماه باب الريان للصائمين. روى البخاري عن سهل بن سعد الساعدي رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إن في الجنة بابا يقال له باب الريان لا يدخل معه إلا الصائمون. وعلى أصح قولي أهل العلم، واختار ابن حجر في شرح البخاري والعيني في شرح البخاري، أن المراد من يصوم النفل زيادة على الفرض، يعني يكثر صيام النفل، فإن له بابا فإنه يدخل من باب الريان. وهذا يدل على محبة الله لعبادة الصوم. وما يدل على وإذا كان الله يحب عبادة الصوم فإنها تزيد الإيمان. نعم.
And we benefit that fasting is an act that is beloved to Allah the Most High, to the point where Allah, He has given a gate that's specifically for the people who fasted much in the life of this world, and it's a gate that He has called Ar-Rayyan, and yes, Ar-Rayyan, and it's been reported and collected by Imam al-Bukhari on the authority of Sahal ibn Sa'ad, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, indeed in the paradise there is a gate that is called Ar-Rayyan, and none will enter this gate except for the fasting people. The scholar and explainer of Sahih al-Bukhari, Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, and Al-Aini, who is another of the famous explainers of Sahih al-Bukhari, they mention that this gate, it's for those people who used to fast Ramadan, and they would also fast the optional fasts. So they were known for frequently fasting optional fasts. So it gives us an indication that Allah the Most High, He loves fasting, and if we were to partake in it and to focus on it and to do it, then it would have the effect of increasing our faith. نعم شيخنا.
ومن الأحاديث العظيمة في الدلالة على عظيم فضل الصوم، وهو ما روى البخاري ومسلم عن أبي هريرة، واللفظ للبخاري من حديث أبي هريرة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: الصيام جنة. الله أكبر. تدرون ما معنى جنة؟ أي ستر عن النار. قال ابن عبد البر: وهذا أعظم حديث، وهذا أفضل حديث في بيان فضل الصيام. هذا يا إخواني صيام النفل، وصيام الفرض من باب أولى وأولى، فإن الله يحب الفرض أكثر وأكثر. وفي الحديث قال: والذي نفسي بيده لخلوف فم الصائم أطيب عند الله من ريح المسك. هذه الفضيلة الثانية. خلوف فم الصائم أي رائحة الفم مع الصوم تتغير، لأن المعدة تكون خالية. هذه الرائحة يحبها الله، لأنها أثر عبادة الصوم. انتبه، العبادة إذا كانت أثر، إذا أحب الله عبادة، انتبه، إذا أحب الله عبادة أحب آثارها. فمن آثار الصوم رائحة فم الصائم، خلوف فم الصائم، مثل الجهاد، الله يحب الجهاد. ومن آثار ذلك أنه يحب دم الشهيد. قال والفضيلة الثالثة في هذا الحديث، قال كل عمل ابن آدم له إلا الصوم فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به. الله أكبر. تصوروا يا إخواني الصلاة إلى آخره، كل هذه للإنسان إلا الصوم، الله وحده، لله وحده. قال إلا الصوم فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به، أي يضاعف أجره مضاعفة كثيرة. وقد قيل في سبب ذلك أن كل العبادات يدخلها الرياء إلا الصوم، لا يدخلها الرياء، لأن لا أحد يعلم بصوم فلان حقيقة إلا الله. فلذلك صار لله وحده. والفضيلة الرابعة في هذا الحديث، قال للصائم فرحتان، فرحة عند فطره وفرحة عند لقاء ربه. وهذه فضيلة عظيمة، فرح في الدنيا وفرح في الآخرة. هذا كله يدل على عظيم مكانة الصيام، فإذا كان كذلك فإنه سبب عظيم لزيادة الإيمان. نعم.
Barakallahu feekum, Shaykhana. And we see the great virtues of fasting in many ahadith of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. And from those ahadith, from those narrations, is that which has been reported and collected by Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim, and it's reported on the authority of Abu Hurairah. And the wording that we are looking at is the wording of Imam al-Bukhari, where the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that fasting is a shield, and may Allah be glorified. This is amazing. It's a shield, it's a preventative protection for the believer. The scholar of Islam, Ibn Abdul Barr, he mentioned that this hadith, this is the greatest hadith that points and indicates the virtues of fasting. So the fact that fasting is a shield for the believer or for the faster, this is a great virtue for the one who partakes in this act of worship. The second virtue that's mentioned in this narration is that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "By he in whose hand my soul is in, the breath of the fasting person is better with Allah than the smell of musk." And this is a great indication of the virtue of fasting. And this is because the breath of the fasting person, since their digestive system is empty and they're not processing any food, it's natural that their breath, the smell, it changes, and it's different. And this smell is something that Allah the Most High loves. Why? It's because this is the impact or the effect, a sort of outcome of the act of worship of fasting. And when Allah the Most High loves an act of worship, he loves its impact and he loves the outcome. So, for example, he loves striving in his path, so therefore he loves the blood of the martyr. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went on to say that every action is for the son of Adam except for fasting. For indeed it is for me, and I will recompense its reward. So this is incredible, because it shows that every single action including great acts of worship like the prayer, they are considered for the slave. But the act of fasting, it's considered for Allah, and it will be specific for Allah to recompense it. And the prayer, the fasting, its reward is multiplied. And it's said that the reward is multiplied because the act of fasting, it's a secret act of worship, whereby nobody knows how well the individual is abstaining, or nobody knows that the person is in fact abstaining except for Allah the Most High. So Allah rewards the individual in a commensurate manner to their intention and their good fasting from that which is within their hearts. So it's something that Allah the Most High will reward himself. And also the fourth benefit, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that indeed the fasting person, there are 2 times of joy for the fasting individual. There is a time of joy when they break their fast and they open their fast. And there is a time of joy that they will face and they will have when they meet their Lord in the hereafter. So therefore, this act of worship, it gives the individual happiness and it benefits them in the worldly life and in the hereafter. And when we consider the acts of worship, those that benefit the individual in the worldly life and the hereafter, when the individual partakes in them, they by default increase them in their faith. نعم شيخنا.
وأخيرا أيها الصائمون، تذكروا عند ترككم للشراب مع العطش أو للطعام مع الجوع وشهوة الأكل، أو للجماع مع رغبته، أو لغير ذلك من المفطرات، تذكروا أنكم تركتموه لله وتبتغون ما عند الله. فتذكروا الجنة وما فيها مما لم تره عين ولم يخطر بالبال، كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: فيها ما لا عين رأت ولا أذن سمعت ولا خطر على قلب بشر. فتذكروا يا إخواني ما فيها من النعيم، فافرحوا بفضل الله عليكم أن من عليكم بالصيام، وتأكد أن الطاعة والحسنة تجر أختها وتدعو لأختها، الحسنة تدعو أختها، كما قال تعالى: فأما من أعطى واتقى، هذه حسنة، وصدق بالحسنى، هذه حسنة، فسنيسره لليسرى، فهي دعت لليسرى أي الحسنة بعدها. فاستشعروا يا إخواني عند صومكم وعند فطركم وعند سحوركم وعند ترككم للملذات لله أنكم في عبادة، فهذا يزيد الإيمان عمليا في القلب ويملأه فرحا وسرورا. أسأل الله أن يتقبل منا صيامنا وقيامنا، وأن يجعلنا ممن صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا فغفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه، وجزاكم الله خيرا.
بارك الله فيكم شيخنا وجزاكم الله خير. And lastly, I leave with a word of advice for all of those who are fasting. So when you are fasting and you're partaking in abstaining from these things for the sake of Allah, when you are abstaining from your drink, and by doing so you're getting thirsty, when you're abstaining from your food, and by doing so you're getting hungry, and when you are abstaining from your marital relations, and by doing so there is movement in your desire, then you should remember and remind yourself why you have left these things. For indeed you have left these things for the sake of Allah, and you have left these things for His pleasure, and you have left these things to attain that which He has prepared for His slaves in the paradise in the hereafter. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that indeed in the paradise, there is that which no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and that which has not even been thought of on the heart of any person. So the bounties, the bounties that await the people of the Jannah, the people of the paradise, are immense and are amazing. So you should think about this while you are fasting and be happy and rejoice and praise Allah that He has given you the success to be able to fast, because this is a great blessing of Allah the Most High upon you. And know that when an individual carries out an act of worship, then that act of worship, it results or it calls to its sister. What does that mean? It calls to, or it results when you do something good as an act of worship, it necessitates or it usually brings about another act of goodness that you can do. So Allah will cause you to do even more good. And Allah the Most High said, and فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى, as for those who give and fear Allah, وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, and they believe in that which is good, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى, and we will make easy for them that which is easy. So the goodness, it follows from one act to the next. So we see how great this act of fasting is, and we can see that it increases the individual in gaining closeness to Allah the Most High, and as a result, it increases our faith in Allah the Most High. I ask, and the Sheikh finished off by making supplication for us, that he asks that Allah accepts our acts of worship during this month, and our fasting, and our recitation of the Qur'an. And then he concluded by sending peace and salutations upon our Prophet Muhammad and upon his family and companions to the day of resurrection. Shaykhana, jazakumullahu khaira wa baraka fikum.
Allahumma amin wa iyyakum.
MashaAllah, محاضرة قيمة وكلمة مفيدة، ونتمنى أن نستقبلكم مرة ثانية وبعد ذلك كذلك. حفظكم الله.
الله يتقبل منا ومنكم يا رب العالمين، ينفع بكم ويشكر جهودكم أجمعين، يشكر للشيخ محمد جهوده جزاه الله خيرا.
آمين آمين شيخنا، حفظكم الله.
طيب الظاهر انتهى الوقت يا شيخ.
أي نعم شيخنا، نعم.
طيب جزاك الله.
وإياكم شيخنا. So we give thanks to our Sheikh Abdul Aziz Al-Rais, and the Sheikh also gave thanks to Sheikh Muhammad Al-Maliki and those who set up this this lecture and this program. And we hope to have Sheikh Abdul Aziz Rais join us again for another beneficial lecture. So I'll say again in English, you know, I said to him that we thank him, we give great thanks for his beneficial words, and we ask Allah to increase him. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يزيدكم خيرا شيخنا وأن يبارك في جهودكم.
اللهم آمين وإياك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
جزاك الله خير شيخ. جزاك الله خير. Thank you very much. And again, to those who are watching on YouTube and Facebook, we're doing the live Qur'an and lectures every day of Ramadan. It's the Ramadan special from Islam for Deaf called the Hour of Power, inshallah. If you missed it live, you can watch it again on YouTube or Facebook on the Islam for Deaf channels, or visit islamfordeaf.co.uk, where you can watch these live shows as well as other beneficial shows. And also we ask you to support during Ramadan, to support Islam for Deaf, because to help bring consistency in Islamic dawah for our deaf community. Also the programs that we do for children and the iftar for deaf, which we're doing in Ramadan, inshallah. You can visit the website and support it, inshallah. May Allah accept it from you, may Allah accept it from us as well. Jazakallah khairan. Again, we'll see you tomorrow for another live session, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khairan. See you later, Tom. All right, go.